You might be surprised to find this out, but I like trains. I don't know if there's anything that gave it away. Is it the last train video I made on this channel or the 1/37,000th map of the Tokyo subway map that I have behind me? In my last train-related video on this channel, I visited some of the least used train stations in all of the Tokyo Metropolis. Now, this video isn't about the most or least used stations. There are over 800 train stations in the Tokyo Metropolis, ranging from massive stations like Tokyo Station to ones in far-flung reaches of the metropolis like Tama that get less than 100 passengers a day. This video, though, is about stations that I find interesting for one reason or another, be it the station themselves, the area that they serve, or some other little factor that I just find interesting. The only criteria to make this list is that it has to be a station that's not super well known. So you're not going to be seeing places like Shibuya Station or Asakusa Station, which serves the neighborhood of Asakusa, which you probably don't know where that is, but if you've ever been to Tokyo, you've likely transited through there. These are stations that people don't know about. So if that's something that interests you, then stick around as we visit 5 cool train stations in Tokyo that you've probably never heard of. But before we get into the video, I just do want to ask you all to subscribe. The last time I asked everyone to subscribe, my subscriber numbers went up by about 500%. And the last time I didn't ask people to subscribe, YouTube killed my video after 48 hours. So if you are interested in learning more about Japan, with maybe a little focus on trains, do hit that sub button and stick around as I'm going to be showing off more about Japan as I continue to live here. With that pandering out of the way, let's head to our first station in the far east of Tokyo. The first stop on our list is Maihama Station. Now, technically this station isn't in Tokyo, but I want to cover it for one specific reason. Would you be surprised if I told you that Maihama Station is the 50th busiest JRE station? So if every station operated in the Kanto and Tohoku regions of Japan, Maihama is the 50th busiest at around 150,000 passengers a day. This is surprising considering the area Maihama Station serves. Maihama is a part of Urayasu, a dense city of around 170,000 located just across the border from Tokyo in Chiba Prefecture. The majority of this area is reclaimed land that was developed in the 1960s, and it's very industrial as a result. So what makes this station special then to attract the 50th most passengers of any train station in eastern Japan? Well, what if I told you that Maihama Station is the happiest train station in Japan? Now you might be wondering, what exactly makes a train station the happiest? And why is it here and not, say, somewhere like Saitama Prefecture? First, there is no happiness in Saitama Prefecture. And second, it's not exactly like Maihama itself is all that happy, but it's what's next to it that makes it the happiest. Because if you've ever heard of something called Tokyo Disneyland, Maihama Station is the one that serves it. From central Tokyo, it only takes about 15 minutes to get here on the Musashino or Keio lines. And Maihama technically also links up with another transit line, that being the Disney Resort Line, aka the monorail that brings you to the gate of the different Tokyo Disney parks. Of Maihama's roughly 150,000 daily passengers, roughly 2/3 are non-regular ones, likely being people visiting Tokyo Disney. And of the other third, it wouldn't surprise me if a large percentage of those are the cast members working at Tokyo Disney. So next time you're on vacation in Tokyo and one of your family or friends wants to visit Tokyo Disney, hopefully you'll be able to remember the station that brought you there just as much as the overpriced popcorn and Mickey Mouse ears that they made you buy. I find this next station cool for one reason, and that's the fact that it runs directly over a river. This is Higashi-Ojima Station on the Toei-Shinjuku subway line. It's a station in eastern Koto Ward in the eastern part of Tokyo. If you were riding through Higashi-Ojima Station without paying too much attention, you'd probably just think this was an average subway station here in eastern Tokyo. It gets around 30,000 passengers a day, of which around 2/3 are regular commuters. This actually makes it the 4th least used station on the Shinjuku line. Now, apart from being an above-ground subway station, which just defeats the entire purpose of the Japanese word for subway, chikatetsu, or literally underground steel, This station is the most interesting for the fact it sits on a bridge over top the Kyunaka River. That's right, if you walk along the Kyunaka River, you can walk directly under where the station sits. Now, elevated train stations that you can walk under are not rare in Tokyo. Far from it, in fact. However, I don't know many, if any, that sit over top a river. From the station platform, you've got large windows that provide an excellent view of the surrounding area. And because we are on the Kyunaka River and very close to the much larger Arakawa River, the surrounding area of Higashi-Ojima Station has a lot of parks and green space. There's also even a museum about the area, and apparently they do tugboat tours. I can imagine a lot of families coming to Higashi-Ojima during the spring or summer with their children to find a bit of greenery in the concrete jungle that is Tokyo. Even in the bit of time that I spent here recording this video, I thoroughly enjoyed all the parks that surround Higashi-Ojima. Now, I couldn't film as much as I wanted to because, unsurprisingly, filming spaces with a lot of children is something that is, well, illegal. So I didn't. But if you're ever trying to find a little place to relax in the east of Tokyo, maybe come give Higashi-Ojima a visit to see something that you don't usually see in a megacity like Tokyo. Did you know that Tokyo has a tram line? Well, you might have known that. Did you know it actually has 2 tram lines? The least famous of the two is the Setagaya Line, operated by Tokyo. It's a 5-kilometer long line that connects Sangenjaya Station to Shimotakaido Station in, unsurprisingly, Setagaya Ward. However, for much of its length, the Setagaya Line runs independent of the streets, as it runs along a former branch of the Tamagawa, now called Denentoshi Line. So that leaves the other tram line, the Arakawa Line, to pick up the slack. And thankfully, it does. There's actually 2 stations on the tram line I want to highlight. The first station is Otsuka Station. Here, the tram line intercepts with the Yamanote Line. If you're staying towards the center part of Tokyo on your trip to Japan, this is the place that you'll most likely encounter the Arakawa Line. Plus, here, the tram does this. But for most of the Arakawa Line's path, it runs independently of the streets, always sanctioned off by walls or barriers from the roads or footpaths around it. But that isn't true everywhere. Namely here at Oji Station in Tokyo's Kita Ward. From Tojiyama Station just south of here to here at Oji Station, the Arakawa Line runs right down the middle of Prefectural Route 122. It's so rare to see something like this in Tokyo, but if you come here, you can see the streetcars waiting at traffic lights just like a car would. I think coming to Oji via the Arakawa Line is definitely worth it, as you can see a part of Tokyo that you don't usually get to see. Even just riding the tram is a flashback to when streetcars used to dominate cities. If you have the chance, definitely come visit here. Our next stop is Chofu Station. It's the 4th most used Keio Line station at around 110,000 passengers a day. This makes it the 4th most used Keio Line station, only behind Shinjuku, Shibuya, and Kichijoji. But it's the only one that's specifically a Keio Line station, so that's pretty neat, I guess. But what makes Chofu Station any different from any other major station in Tokyo's suburban cities? Why did I choose to come to Chofu, rather than, say, Fuchu Station, which is just 6 kilometers further west? The reason is not because of where Chofu Station is, but where it isn't. This area right here in the center of Chofu City, is where Chofu Station once was. Just 15 years ago, Chofu Station wasn't buried underground like it is now. Rather, it ran at street level. And that caused a lot of problems. The station wasn't elevated. It ran at ground level, unlike Fuchu Station just 6 kilometers west. During the morning rush hour, people would have to sit, sometimes for minutes, behind lowered level crossing gates waiting for their chance to pass. This caused major headaches for pedestrians and drivers alike. Furthermore, Chofu is where the Keio Main Line and the Keio Sagamihara Line split off into 2. Sagamihara Line trains that turn south that come into Chofu Station oftentimes had to cross the tracks in front of Keio Line trains that were going and coming from Chofu. So to remedy this problem, the Tokyo government dug a hole. Starting in 2003, the Keio Line Continuous Grade Separation Project, or this in Japanese, began. This project was finally completed 9 years later in 2012, with the Keio line being moved fully underground onto 2 different platforms stacked on top of each other. So while Chofu Station might not be the flashiest or the busiest, the fact that they moved an entire station underground is just insane to me. And you can still see the remnants of the Keio line today if you look close enough. For example, if you come in front of this theater here, you can see where the Keio line continued west towards Fuchu and turned south down towards Tama. Also, you can even see where the train tracks ran because they still exist in this park. What was once railroad tracks is now parks, movie theaters, and stores. And all it took was an estimated 119.4 billion yen. A lot of people know that Tokyo has a monorail. But did you know that Tokyo actually has 2 monorails? The second one is a lot less well known by foreign tourists because it's located in the western part of the metropolis in the suburban city of Tama. And it starts here at Tama Center Station. There's a lot of reasons that I like Tama Center Station. The monorail is one of them, but Tama Center is also just really well connected. It receives not only the monorail, officially known as the Tama-Toshi monorail, but also the Odiyaku and Keio lines, which can take you directly into the heart of Tokyo in a little over 30 minutes. These 3 lines contribute to give Tama Center around 150,000 passengers a day. That's quite a lot for a suburban part of Tokyo like Tama. But I think the reason I like Tama Center the most isn't the station itself, but rather the area that surrounds it instead. Tama Center Station sits at the heart of something called Tama New Town. In a brief explanation of something that likely requires a whole video on its own, Tama New Town is a massive residential development which covers 29 square kilometers of western Tokyo. Following the Second World War, Tokyo experienced a massive period of population growth, leading to unmitigated urban sprawl, especially in its western areas. Tama New Town was a planned community which hoped to combat this trend, giving residents to over 200,000 Tokyoites in a more pleasant urban environment. And at the center of this is the aptly named Tama Center Station. To the station's south is an area called the Parthenon Avenue, which contains shopping malls and also leads to Sanrio Pearland, a Sanrio, that's the company that makes Hello Kitty by the way, themed amusement park. Parthenon Avenue ends with, well, the Parthenon, a culture center and museum which houses the history of Tama New Town. I think there's something in my formerly planning on becoming an engineer brain that loves Tama New Town and the area around Tama Center Station. Because the fact that Tama Center Station sits at the heart of Tama New Town, I think I just kind of have to like it by default. If you're trying to get out of central Tokyo, coming here is definitely worth it, not just for the amusement park. Plus, you can ride a monorail, and monorails are awesome. So that's it for me for today. Are there any stations that you think I missed? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I've been Adam. Stay hydrated, or don't. I'm not your dad. I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one.